Hey there, fourth grade. It's Mr. Middies back with another rousing reading language arts lesson. Today, we're continuing to chug right along with our study about nonfiction and how nonfiction texts are organized. Today, whoops, never mind. I'll get that right one day. Today, we're talking about how nonfiction authors organize information into categories. All right. As always, you know what's coming next. We do have a learning goal and some success criteria. We got to know what we're trying to accomplish today. So let's head on over to those and see what we have on that. Our learning goal today, boys and girls, is that we are learning to notice when an author organizes information into categories and subcategories. All right. Along the way, we have some three I can statements to let you know that you're successful along the way. There are success criteria. You know them, you love them. Today, I hope you guys can say, I can define category, I can define subcategory, and I can recognize the relationships within categories and subcategories. I think if you hit those along the way, you'll be pretty successful today. All right, let's move on to that all important vocabulary and then take a really close look at some examples for today's lesson. Our vocabulary today, as mentioned before, is the word category. A category is a group that shares a common trait or characteristic. So a category might be superheroes, and then something that fits in that category might be Captain America. Okay? A subcategory is a more specific group within a category. So using the same example, if I said superheroes, that might be my category. But if I said superheroes that can fly, well, that might be my subcategory. And then I can start naming those superheroes, like my boy Superman. Okay, so those are our two main vocabulary words today. Now that we have a good idea about what we're looking at in the fourth grade for category and subcategory, let's look at an example of how nonfiction authors actually organize their writing in these categories. For our first example, we are going all the way back to something from the first semester. We're going back to eye to eye. Okay? If you guys remember, this was an amazing book about all the different ways animals can see the world, how their eyes are structured. And it gave tons of different examples. And I thought this was really, really cool. Okay, so we're looking at this book. We're asking ourselves, what is this book about? How is this book organized? If you look through it, we notice that the book is organized into the category eyes. It's all about eyes. So our information, first and foremost, throughout the book is all about animals' peepers, their eyeballs. Okay, but let's take a closer look and see if there's any other organization that may get a little bit more specific. Let's look at page 3 and 4. Boom, right there on your screen, okay? I can see that the author has broken down these two pages into, wait for it, two sections. Right. If you think back to our text features lesson from last week, I know that there are two headings. I see that the first section on the top of the two pages is called the first eyes. Okay, and I'm willing to bet that you can see it on your screen. There's a bunch of information about the first eyes that ever existed. Okay, what about the bottom of the pages? What do you notice there? Do you notice that the heading or the section is marked 4 kinds of eyes? That's a good catch out there. All right. So if I'm building my categories, building on our first one, right, we know the book as a whole is about eyes, and that's the category of information that we're working with throughout the entire book. However, on these two pages, I can see that we can break down eyes into subcategories like the first eyes at the top of our page and the types of eyes. Interesting. I wonder if we continue to look at this example from page 3 and 4, if we can see any other ways that the information is organized. Spoiler, I think we can. So if we look again specifically at the bottom of the pages 3 and 4, we see that the author is still talking about eyes. We know that the top of the page still had the first eyes, but now we really want to talk about the 4 types of eyes. And as we read about the eye spot, the pinhole, the compound eye, like in a lot of parts of insects, and the camera eye, which is quite honestly the eyeballs that eagles and human beings have. So here we see not only has the author organized it in one big category, the whole book is categorized into eyes and different types of eyes all across the animal kingdom. But just on this page, they've chosen to organize and divide up the information into 2 categories, and even further still, into 4 subcategories. But my question, guys, is why do you think the author does that? Why not put them in chronological order like we learned about yesterday? Or in some other order? Hmm. I'm willing to bet that it's because this information is best presented in categories and that there is not any kind of chronological order. There is not really a story element or a developing narrative in the information presented. Right? So let's move on to a review. All right, guys, very quick lesson for you today. As a review, nonfiction is still organized in a variety of ways, and we're going to continue to look at some of those throughout this week. Remember, nonfiction is often organized into categories. Right? A category meaning a group that has something in common. When more information is given within these categories, we call those subcategories, like the different kinds of eyeballs. Okay? Authors often organize their writing into categories because there isn't a chronological order to follow. Right? There is no first, next, then, finally. All right? So today, during your independent reading, I'm going to encourage you guys to be on the lookout to see exactly how your nonfiction texts are organized. Is it organized like yesterday's lesson in chronological order, or is it organized in categories, in different groups according to some common trait? All right. As always, I've been Mr. Remedies across Copper's Cove. You guys, my 4th graders, you guys have been amazing, and we will see you next time. Let's see what our intro is today. Ooh. Adios, guys. Have a great day.